Hello world, and welcome to
Right On.
Coming up, 4 types of world building. Whatever the genre, subgenre, or story type, the 4 types of world building are key to credible and immersive tales. Every novel builds its own world as its setting, even in contemporary, naturalistic stories. The world of each story is carefully curated by the author to provide a precise setting. It contains no more than needed to support the story.
Well,
Most of the time, Jack Reacher inhabits a very specific version of America. Small towns, diners, military bases, airfields. The stories use exactly those elements that embellish the story, create mood and atmosphere, as well as the physical environments the characters inhabit. The same goes for Scarpetta's Charleston or Rushdie's Mumbai. None of them depict the whole country or the whole city. Just the parts necessary for the story, in sufficient detail to convince the reader they actually exist. Pride and Prejudice takes place around the Regency period, yet makes no mention of the Napoleonic Wars. Nelson and Wellington get no credit. The threat of invasion never comes up in polite conversation. Lizzie Bennet's world is strictly constrained. Only those parts of society relevant to the story are described. That's why there are no poor people in Pride and Prejudice. Lizzie gets second-hand reports of events in London. There's no mention of Bath, vital to Austen's novels. Historical fiction famously demands historical research and historical facts. Otherwise, it's not very historical. The historical detail is a larger part of the attraction to readers. But I, Claudius does not depict the entire Roman Empire, or even the entire reign of Claudius himself. It presents the edited highlights selected by Graves to illustrate one period of Roman history. 2 types of people. An anonymous wit once declared, "There are 2 types of people, those who can extrapolate from incomplete information, and..." All of these stories feature world building by selection. What do they need? What don't they need? Is there enough to immerse the reader into a believable world? The further a story gets from our real world, the more the author has to build the fictional world. The more fantastical or speculative the story, the more the world must be crafted. Spaceships, monsters, dinosaurs, ray guns, lightsabers. All of these must be imagined by the author and somehow described in the text. As readers, we recognize sufficient detail that our brain, rightly or wrongly, fills in the rest. We imagine what's beyond the next door or next street corner. We imagine that the author has the entire world of the story mapped out and recorded. The fantasy genre is famous for it, thanks to Grandpa Tolkien and the approach he established. Iceberg. Here I am with my fantasy series, trying to navigate the 4 types of world building. The iceberg method, where the bulk of your built world sits below the waterline out of sight of the reader. Drip feed irrigation, where you trickle out world details in small droplets, no massive info dumps. Less is more, cutting all but the essentials to keep up the pace. Infiltration, where you drop breadcrumbs of key facts to set up a payoff later in the plot. A line here, a fact there. Piece by piece, you can build up a detailed picture of people, places, and institutions. There's a rich backstory, even though we're on the run in a wilderness. A couple of times, characters from different cultures discuss the religious beliefs of their respective people. It's not subtle, but the conversations are short, just enough depth to drop hints and allow the reader to draw parallels with contemporary cultures that readers might understand. Is the Church of the Messenger like medieval Catholicism, early Islam, or something else? Thumbnails and sketches. What about Escalon, the home of the empire? My protagonists relate their contrasting views of the empire and the republic before it. My empire is a mashup of Roman, Ottoman, and Byzantine. The decline and decay of the republic enabled the rise of a dictator who became emperor. Colonialism, fascism, and racism raised their heads. The heavily armored Vipers represent the peak of military technology and training. But I leave the reader to visualize them. Are they medieval knights? Roman legionaries?
Steel samurai.
The opposing horse clans might be Mongol warriors, Visigoths, or Persian immortals. Book 2 ventures into the Askari civilization, the southern Khants and their people. Book 3 arrives at Kamsen, the fortified city capital. The first thing we see is the King's Bridge, a massive timber swing bridge on stone piers. It's a technical marvel. We don't know which king built it or when. But the routine of opening and closing is vital to infiltrating the city. In my world, magic is real, but rare. People believe in it, though they may never see it. The church peddles miracles. The messengers are accepted as real historical figures. They're alluded to, but never discussed in detail. Can you tell how much iceberg is below the water?
Readers assume a lot.
Common sources. Without inventing everything from scratch, I lean into historical sources. I dabble in Egyptian, Greek, and Roman history, medieval Europe, the Crusades, the Wars of the Roses, the Black Death, the conquest of North America, the colonization of Africa and Asia run through my empire. Civil wars, both English and American, inform the rebellion. A snippet here, a thread there. A patchwork of the familiar and relatable, sewn into something the reader can easily imagine. I have a thin veneer of knowledge to propagate the elements of story. Just enough to convince the reader there's a vast Tolkien-like body of academic rigor beneath the text. And at the end, is the world credible? Does the magic school of Potter, the military academy of Fourth Wing, the caste system of Divergent, make sense? Or do they create a giant great plot hole big enough to sink an iceberg? That's for the reader to decide. Thanks for stopping by. You can like and subscribe to the channel, or go to robincatling.com.